to source and to access and work through the effects and influences of the opposite gender parent in one's nature. The closed circle vision reactivity of holding in a mediation inertia to maintain deep infantile solutions to feelings and behaviors of powerlessness. It may be stoicism in virtue as one is in belief, denial and fortressing, and it may be an idea version of identity that activates thwartings and manipulativeness in order to make things fit. It may be a suppressed desire scheme of coping endurance Barbican castling in a constructed personality of success in psyche servitude to an internal order meeting expectancy. For only what is felt, is known, is an alien way to this constructed personality or manufactured self of mediation control that imprisons and precludes emergence of realness as it serves the inner hungry ghosts of appetites, patterns, inertia, pacifiers, and personality modes of behaviors that compel power compliances and thereby afford compensations to make up for what is missing. It is dynamism of the closed circularity as the inner monitor of the Barbican castle moves in hypervigilance to thwart and manipulate in reactivity against the fears and angst activated by the motions of shadows on the cave walls. It is sourcing the great wallings of anger and fire within, for she is trapped behind a wall of fire that precludes her real sexual awakening. For her energies are directed to the idea version of senses as successful orgasm may not be what is desired. She may rage, steam, and sizzle to block her healthy sexual surrender of her constructed self to her real self. It is overcoming the wanting to be wanted means of desire as mediation, control, and power greater than love ways of leverage, manipulation, seduction, and taking advantage. The wanting to be wanted behaviors of mimesis and imitation and the use of triangulation of being like someone or something else. It is wanting to be wanted as deception and image impression management in a strategy whereby one believes one will have more power by consuming what is someone or someone else. Samskara, a limiting condition of the mind in heart, senses, gut, nerves, as mind form attachment that perpetuates additional attachments, resulting in the mind pulling outward toward the senses and away from its inner nature. Samskara is deep-seatedness and recurrency, tendency, disposition, fear of surrender to the real within, fear of surrender to the real in play, instincts, games of imagination of one's own choosing, creativity and accessing emotionality of unfolding, streamings, branches of surfacings in what seeks aliveness. To encounter the unworthiness and false urgency of behaviors of mediation control that prevent states of vulnerability where one feels. When the well's dry, they know the value of the water. Benjamin Franklin. It is Bayoka self and Wellstein of energies in streams and flows instead of blocks and dams. It is integrity of Truing's of urgency as one accesses real spirit of self, as Ba by traversing the abyss of nothingness of O in letting go of the constructions of duality, servitude of Ka. It is Bayoka as process of liquidity in the yin-yang rangings of creative capacity. It is leaving the narrowings of Barbican inertia and savant skill, talent, role, performance, impression management, and thereby altering one's being. Carpe diem, the opportunity, in the time of crises, to move and risk as change, to seize the day. The truings of urgency and alterings into presence. It is recognizing opportunity in collisionism as the release of energies are available in tidal, inner force, heart, waves of of body electric healthy distribution. It is releasing out of the compression mediation controls of the Barbican shame fortress castle as a way out of the intensity, density, inertia of servitude to the hungry ghosts of appetite. It is recurrence in patterns of controlling reactivity to shadows on inner cave walls, the mediation of the pressures of expectancy, the motions of fear and intensity, density that rely upon anesthetized and transero states to gain relief from the overloads of the constructions, the modes of leveragings, image making and wanting to be wanted as too much of a good thing becomes detrimental to one's organic integrity. It is the tyranny of the weak as feelings of not good enough and unworthiness are ways of arrested development, stuck serving behaviors and mediation that are controlled coping necessity. It is knowing the hungry ghosts, use of firewaters, drugs, and dreams as pacifiers of interruptiveness to compensate or insulate for the lost or the missing. It is tuning into life force and drives of real needs out of construction, mediation, control ways to access N as end in splitting our inner collisionism of going into nothingness, emptiness, the abyss of the unknown, to cross into partitionings and release energies for truings of urgency. It is overcoming the deadness within as one is open to new growth, choices and depths as quick as the flick of an eyelash. It is the wind in my eye as the wind into central nerves and light into shadows. It is realization as originality is accessed out of the shadows. It is selon soi as manifestation of inherent wants, as one sees the girl who disappears from the pool will never return. A woman will be looking for the girl she was, for she raises the veil to see what she is saying goodbye to. For she has been a prisoner since she has been a daughter. The propitious time reveals itself as action taken. One must breathe into one's space-place of mysterious intimacy, the deep place of N, the place of containment and block, contraction and tenets and belief. It is going into role expectancy pattern of an idea version of self that sustains a castle fortress as a litmus test means of seduction eros that represses, limits and inhibits, a fantasy and wound perfection of loss, abandonment and contempt that cries out in behavior or performances of no one is loved enough. It is seeing stasis neurosis, a sexual physical disturbance enmeshed in patterns of autoeroticism, hysteria, sensualization, the inadequately disposed of unsatisfied sexual excitation as deadened or neutralized orgasm reflexes, muffled corridorings of compressions of intensity, density, and partitionings of making things fit in cart before horse belief and behaviors, the vanity fears pathings of vigilance, wariness, and the impression, seduction, manipulations of wanted to be wanting and wanting to be wanted, that is power greater than love. It becomes hellfire battery energies and withholdings behind the vanity fears wall of fire that precludes real sexual presence. The acrobatic girl, tightrope walker of an ideology in the religion of fear. The distortions of appetites that are in the inner arena of the hungry ghosts that become something has been removed from where it works best. The constructions become the distortions as Barbican fortress of defenses and ways of filtration and exchanges, the royal way of power greater than love, the royal way of rescue of the princess as a means of deals in reciprocity, selfishness, and mediation control, of feminine passivity, serving Dav the direction of active in waiting, in romance, in fantasy, in self-absorption, in hysteria, excesses of sensualization, in wanting to be wanted as power greater than love. A rhythm of servitude to the hungry ghosts of appetites of redirected reproductive as sustained by the religion of fear.